Hello and welcome to the 20th episode of the Hiatus Review Show. Happy anniversary, 20th episode anniversary. Get out the confetti and champagne. Today we have Coach Steven. This is a very, very interesting episode. I don't have much else to say about it right now, so let's jump into it. So, for the first thing that I liked about Coach Steven, I liked how they handled Sugilite's personality. When you create a fusion, especially a fusion like Sugilite, you run two risks. One, making it seem too much like her components and less like she's her own person, or two, making her seem too much like her own person and way different from the character she's based on. They did a good job of balancing this. You can tell that it is Garnet and Amethyst, it's their personalities combined, but Sugilite also feels like her own person. And honestly, just the way they handle Sugilite in general in this episode is really good. And there's a theory for a while about how the more monstrous a gem fusion is, the more unstable it is. And Sugilite immediately dashes those theories because she's actually very stable. She's too stable. She likes herself too much, so she can't possibly split up. Very, very interesting. And again, just the way they handle Sugilite's personality is really great. With the just making sure you could tell, yeah, this is Amethyst and Garnet, while also, hey, this is a completely different person. Very important to have fusion work, so they handled that very well. Another thing that I liked about Coach Steven is it shows Steven's leadership ability. Up until this point in the show, Steven's always been doing what other people tell him. We've never seen him actually take charge. Well, you can make the argument that he does in So Many Birthdays, but this is an episode where he really starts to show his leadership ability, which obviously ends up being very important in later episodes. Yeah, there's not much to this point, but I just like how they start setting up these ideas early, that Steven's actually a good leader, even if he doesn't always act like it. That's just pretty good. And for another thing that I like how it shows how strong Pearl actually is, which at the time didn't seem like a big deal. But as the show goes later on, it's important for us to remember Pearl's actually strong, because you can very easily fall into the idea that Pearl's a weak character, but she's not. This is very important for a lot of reasons, mostly with the idea that, you know, it's not that she's weak with her, and this could happen to anybody with what happened with her and Rose, that like, even if you're strong mentally, you're still going to have issues with stuff like that, potentially. Very important, really great they started sort of hinting towards that, or setting up that idea in earlier episodes, as Season 1 tends to do a lot. It's just very good. It's very important to the message of the show in general. And for the final thing I liked in Coach Steven, Steven feels very real in this episode. How he sort of gets the wrong message from Sugilite of what strength is. You know, that, oh, strength is just being strong physically, but obviously Sugilite's a bit weak mentally. Constantly feeling the need to put other people down, yada yada yada. It's great. Because how many times as a kid have you gotten, like, you've looked up to somebody and then realized later on, oh, I really shouldn't have looked up to that person because they're kind of awful. And Steven and Sugilite's relationship in that way feels very real. And you can also relate with Pearl, because I've seen it happen and I've tried to tell people, hey, you shouldn't look up to them. Or you shouldn't, you know, have that much faith in them. And they're like, no, you're wrong. And it sucks. It's not a great feeling. So this whole episode feels very real while still feeling cartoony, and I like that a lot. And with all that being said, let's jump into what I don't like about Coach Steven. So, for what I don't like about Coach Steven, I don't have anything. I'm sorry. There's not much in this episode to dislike. It's pretty good all around. It does a good job of getting its various messages across. It feels real while seeming cartoony, because Sugilite's a gigantic monster, so you know, that's a cartoony idea. However, the themes of this episode are very real. Just want to lay that one down. But yeah, there's not much that I actually dislike here. So, yeah, let's jump into the final verdict. And so for the final verdict, do I like Coach Steven? Yeah, I do. I do like Coach Steven a lot. The message in this episode are very good. Again, You know, the idea that you shouldn't always... Sometimes things are as they seem, and strength isn't always what it seems to be, that being mentally strong is almost more important than being physically strong, and there's different ways and they're all important. You should be mentally and physically strong and emotionally strong. Not that emotional strength is brought up in this episode, because at this point none of the characters have that, beyond Garnet. Even not Garnet that much, really. So yeah, I enjoy this episode a lot. It feels cartoony, while also feeling very real, which is one of Steven Universe's strengths. And it's just a great episode, and it's fun. It's just a fun episode. Watching Garnet and Amethyst fuse is fun. Watching Sadie, Lars, and Greg work out is fun. Watching Steven run around with a bunch of tires around him is fun. It's just a fun episode. Watching Pearl win is kind of fun. Kind of annoying, but also kind of fun. So it's just an episode I enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, that's great. If you have anything else you'd like to see on this channel, just let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time. I hope you have a fantastic day.